Hello, I have a little Valentine's card to share with you today. I'm using a stamp from Penny Black called Happy Hugs, which is just adorable. I really love it. It's new to me. And I'm using those two bottom images on my card. And I'm also going to be using this American Crafts stamp. It's just a sentiment stamp, but it's got sentiments I really like. And this is from Poppy Stamps. It's called Heart Die, I think. Poppy Stamps Heart Circle, I should say. And I quite like it. Haven't used it before, but I've had it a while. And these are Birch Press Sweetheart Layers, and which I've cut a panel that I'm going to be using to start my background for these cute little birds. Anybody who follows my work knows that I adore birds. So I really like doing cards with birds, of course. I'm going to be coloring with Zig markers, the birds with Zig pens, but I'm going to first do just a loose wash on the back of this, for the panel I should say. And I'm going to be using May Green watercolor from my watercolor palette. Is what I like. I really like this color, so it's one of my favorite colors. And who said that a Valentine's Day greeting can't have green? So I'm going to just do this loose watercolor. I don't like using a dryer, or heat gun I should say, not a dryer, a heat gun to dry. I find that it lightens the color. So usually I just get it to where I want it, turn my piece, front ways, backwards, whatever, to get the paint to blend in. And then I set it aside to dry naturally while I go along on my rest of my card, which is what I'm doing here. It doesn't take very long to just do a watercolor wash, and it makes a big difference, I think, on the back, for the background of any image. So I'm going to start coloring the birdies. Going to use the Zig pens for this. I love these colors, the greens, pinks, oranges, and the light reds. So I picked out the orange and yellow for this, and I used the blue on the other bird, blue and pink on the other birds. And I use the pink that you can see in the photo there, in the video there I should say, that bright pink, I use that on the balloon. And I also put Wink of Stella on the balloon once it's all dry. This is the boring part. I don't know what I can tell you. I'm just laying down the paint. I start out with a bit lighter, and then lighter color, and then add more paint for the areas that I want it to be darker. And just let the paint do its work, basically. It's a small area, so there's not too much precision that goes on with this. And I won't bore you completely with the painting of these little birdies. Actually, I was filming it and I didn't realize that my camera had turned itself off. I forget sometimes that it turns itself off after 10 minutes, so, and that I have to turn it back on again. It's got something to do with, there's some reason for it, but I never seem to remember it. I would like to see if I can get these videos under 10 minutes anyway, so I am using a bit of Payne's Gray with Winsor Newton watercolor here in the eyes. A really watered down Payne's Gray. Just to give some movement to the eyes. I think you could probably use a blue, a very pale blue here too, but I decided on the Payne's Gray. I don't have dies for the stamp set. There aren't dies for a lot of these penny black stamps, so I used my scan and cut to cut them out. Just makes it much easier when, you know, if you use scissors, and they tend to hurt my hands when I have to cut out this thick watercolor paper. It's the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper, so it's quite thick. So it's a relief to have the scan and cut for these kinds of products or projects that don't have dies. Yeah, making up my mind there what I'm going to do. Who's going to get pink? Who's going to get blue? I think I like the idea of the blue and the orange and the pink and the yellow. These are great images for using your Zig Clean Color pens. They just perfect for these little tiny images. If you want to paint directly from the pen itself, it's very easy to do. It's just natural for me to pick up a paintbrush, but for many, when I first started, it wasn't natural at all, and I used to use the water pens, or the little pens filled with water. But now I find that they release too much water, so I use a paintbrush. I think it's pretty soon that I move on. I'm adding even more color to the bottom of that bird. It's so cute. I really like this set. There we go. Yay! So the birds are done. And the balloon heart is painted in the bright pink with Wink of Stella, as I mentioned. Probably could have cut some of this out. And I've put the card together, kind of. Cut a piece of green cardstock for the back of the watercolored panel and attached it. It's cut using the Sweetheart Layers. It's really pretty die set. And I put some foam squares on the solid hearts of the heart circle. Oh, and I did splatter the background with white acrylic paint as well. That's done, and then I do add foam squares to the back of the birds. There's a lot of this I could cut out. I must get better at this. It's not an easy thing to do, trust me. You have to kind of learn as you go, I suppose. Just arrange where I want them to go. I didn't really want to cover up the hearts on the circle, the heart circle, but I had to cover up that one little heart, which that was okay. So I now put it back in my MISTI, now that I figured out where everything goes, and I stamped the sentiment on the bottom left corner there. Oh yeah, there's bits here that, because of the way the die cuts the edges, I glued down using Nuvo glue adhesive. I glued down those areas with the Nuvo, and I put it back in my MISTI, and I'm going to stamp using the Vibrant Fuchsia by Ranger Archival Inks, and it says Happy Hugs. So this is perfect for a girlfriend, which is who I kind of had in mind when I made it. I quite like it. I'm thinking, no, I want a little bit darker, so I'll do another pass of ink. And I've already done the inside. I've stamped it in pink with just a hint of the green by using up one of the negative hearts from the heart circle. I put that on the inside and stamped with the stamp set, using the stamp set from American Crafts to finish it. And I also I used the Twisted Citron to sponge on the green. I hope you enjoyed this card, and I'll see you next time.